Maha-Bharata, Part 2, Chapter 13, Drona in Command. Dhritarashtra's pitiful voice echoed around the great chamber. Oh, how has Bheeshma fallen? He who had arrows for teeth, a bow for his mouth, a sword for his tongue, that chastiser of foes, who spread terror and destruction among the enemy ranks, just as the sun destroys darkness, who was as invincible in battle as the mighty Indradeva himself, who could keep death under his control. How has Bheeshma fallen? Tell me, how did Shikandi and Arjuna bring about the end of our great-grandfather, Bheeshma Dev? Dhritarashtra was inconsolable. Sanjaya was himself grieving, and he sat at Dhritarashtra's feet with his head bowed. Crying, the blind monarch continued speaking. After destroying the enemy troops for 10 days, achieving most difficult feats, Bheeshma has now set like the sun planet. As a result of my evil counsels, that scion of Bharat scattered an inexhaustible shower of arrows, just as Indra showers rain, killing in battle hundreds of thousands of warriors. Now he lies on the bare ground like a great tree uprooted by the wind. How could he, whom even Parashuram could not master, that Atirata of boundless power, how has he been overcome in battle? O Sanjaya, surely nothing is wonderful in this world when I hear that Bheeshma Dev is fallen. Dhritarashtra then asked Sanjaya to describe in detail how Bheeshma had been brought down. Sanjaya had only told Dhritarashtra the news of Bheeshma's defeat, and he did not describe the details how it all came about. Dhritarashtra listened in horror as Sanjaya related the events leading up to Bheeshma's fall. Tears sprang from Sanjaya's eyes as he envisioned the scene once again. And when Sanjaya finished his description, Dhritarashtra spoke again and lamented. Oh, surely my heart must be made of stone, since it does not shatter upon hearing this awful news. Truth, intelligence, and political wisdom immeasurably existed in the illustrious Bheeshma Dev. So who could have defeated him? Surely my sons are now crying in grief that he is gone. Like a man desiring to cross the ocean, only to see the boat sunk, they all must be plunged in woe. Our army must be like a panic-stricken herd of cattle deprived of its herdsmen. When we have caused the death of our powerful grandfather, the foremost of all virtuous men, what now are the use of our own lives? In the darkened chamber, Dhritarashtra sat in silence. His personal servants stood nearby, their chamara fans hanging limply by their sides. The soft strains of mournful music could be heard, along with the continuous chanting of Vedic prayers in the palace temple by the Brahmanas. After some minutes, Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya to repeat the details of the battle. O Sanjaya, I desire to know of all the particulars of Bheeshma's final day, who fought by his side and who was at his rear. What did my sons do to protect that hero? What other fights took place as Bhishma faced the Pandavas? Without knowing every last detail, I will not be able to rest." And again, Sanjaya described everything. Dhritarashtra listened with rapt attention, and when Sanjaya finished, it was almost morning. But the king had no desire to go to his bed. "O Sanjaya, clearly we cannot avoid death by any means. All-powerful Kala, time, ultimately consumes everything in this world. Please tell me what my sons did after Bhishma's fall. Who did they select as their commander? And how did they find the strength to continue this war?" And as sunrise approached, Sanjaya told the king what had happened at the end of the 10th day. Then both men left to perform their morning ablutions, Dhritarashtra being led away by his servants to his bath chamber. After their religious rituals and prayers, they both returned to the hall, and Sanjaya began to describe the events of the 11th day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. After all the kings had left Bhishma, Karna quietly left his tent and rode across the battlefield. As the moon rose in the eastern sky, Karna picked his way through the eerily lit scenes of destruction on his red charger horse. Vultures flapped in the air and hyenas growled as Karna made his way to the spot where Bhishma lay on his bed of arrows. It was easy to find. 100 warriors surrounded Bhishma and had lit torches to keep animals away. Karna dismounted and fell at Bhishma's feet, and in a choked voice he spoke. "O foremost of the Kurus, here I am, Radha's son. I, who you always looked on with enmity." Bhishma opened his eyes and turned towards Karna. Dismissing the guards, Bhishma told Karna to come closer. Affectionately, he spoke to him. "Come, my dear son. You were always my opponent because you sought always to outdo me. If you had not come here, then all would have not fared well for you." Bhishma felt no anger towards Karna. He had reprimanded Karna only out of genuine concern for him. The old Kuru chief knew who Karna was and had always desired his welfare. Bhishma lifted his head slightly and said, "O mighty armed one, you are not the son of Radha. You are the son of Kunti. Adirath is not your father. The mighty Suryadev, the sun god himself, sired you, O hero. I have heard this from both Narada and Vyasadeva, so it cannot be false. O child, I bear you no malice. I spoke harshly only to check you. Seeing that you would abuse the Pandavas for no good reason at all, I simply tried to curb your behavior that would only lead to your own grief. Karna knelt down by Bheeshma's side, his eyes dim with tears at the sight of the grandfather's condition. Despite their many arguments, Karna had always respected the grandfather. Karna could not deny Bheeshma's nobility and power, and Karna knew Bheeshma's words were never malicious, even if they were hard to accept. But in pain, Bheeshma closed his eyes and continued to speak. O Karna, your birth was attended with sin. Thus your intellect has always been perverted through no fault of your own. For this reason, I tried to correct you in the assembly of Kshatriyas. Yet your prowess and might are equal to those of Arjuna. You are devoted to the Brahmanas, you are attached to the duties of your order, and you are in no way inferior to a celestial demigod. So today I relinquish any wrath I formerly felt for you. If you wish to do me good, then join with your brothers, the Pandavas. Yes, let the hostility cease with my fall. Along with Duryodhana, be reconciled with the Pandavas, and let us see all the world's kings freed from anxiety and danger. Karna's head fell. O mighty armed hero, I know all about this. I know I am Kunti's son, but she disowned me, and so I was raised by a charioteer. And having enjoyed Duryodhana's wealth and friendship for so long, how can I disappoint his hopes? Setting aside my wealth, sons, wife, and even my own body and honor, I will strive for Duryodhana's good. To serve his interests, I have incited the Pandavas against me. The result is inevitable and cannot be avoided. Tell me, what man ventures to overcome destiny by his own endeavor? Karna looked around the moonlit field. It was littered with bodies. The next day, Karna would fight. Oh, he had waited so long for this day. After hearing of the fight day after day, and how many of Duryodhana's soldiers were being slaughtered, Karna felt increasingly frustrated. He longed to show his friend his gratitude for everything he had done for him. Now his chance had finally come. Folding his palms, Karna said, O grandsire, I cannot renounce the hostility I feel for the Pandavas. Although I know them to be invincible, protected as they are by that most powerful son of Vasudeva, nevertheless I will fight against the Pandavas. So please, give me your permission, and also kindly forgive any cruel words I may have uttered against you. Bheeshma looked into Karna's face and saw his determination. If you cannot give up your enmity for the Pandavas, then I grant you my permission, O Karna. Fixing your mind upon heaven, fight with the Pandavas to the best of your power. Arjuna will deliver you to the blessed regions reserved for heroes who do not retreat. Casting off all arrogance and depending on your own prowess, go forth and seek the warrior's death. Oh, what can be more glorious for the Kshatriya? Go now with my blessings. I forgive any harsh words you may have addressed to me. Bheeshma again closed his eyes. Karna rose and mounted his horse, and in a few moments Karna vanished into the darkness, leaving Bheeshma lying once more in yogic meditation. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Immediately after sunrise on the 11th day, both the Pandavas and Kauravas went to see Bheeshma. After paying their obeisances, they stood by as maidservants smeared his forehead and temples with sandalwood paste. The servants also sprinkled Bheeshma with unbroken paddy and placed fragrant garlands of forest flowers around Bheeshma's neck. Thousands of people came from the encampments to see Bheeshma lying on his bed of arrows. They marveled at Bheeshma's fortitude and determination, and as the Kuru chief awaited his final moments, he was like a great ascetic, keeping his life force circling within his bones. Now, putting aside their armor and weapons, the soldiers of both armies gathered around the fallen hero. Bheeshma opened his eyes and looked all around, moving his head slightly. Then he lifted his hand and said, "Oh, please bring me water." Upon hearing Bheeshma address them in a rasping voice, the Kauravas quickly fetched jars of cool water. They also brought food, which they set out before him. But Bheeshma shook his head. "No, I will no longer accept articles of human enjoyment. I have passed away from the society of men, and I am lying here on an arrow bed, only until the moment is right for me to die. Where is Arjuna?" Arjuna stepped forward and stood with folded hands before Bheeshma Dev. "O grandsire, what would you have me do?" "O Sabyasachi, my body is burning up. I am pierced all over from your arrows, and I am feeling extreme pain. My mouth is drying up, and I desire to drink water, which only you can supply." Taking his Gandiva bow from his shoulder, Arjuna replied, "Yes, I will bring you water." Arjuna walked around Bheeshma 3 times. Then he fixed a bright golden arrow to his Gandiva bow. After chanting a number of Vedic aphorisms and empowering that arrow with the celestial Parjanya weapon, Arjuna fired it into the earth close to Bheeshma's head. At once, a jet of pure, cool water gushed out. The nectar-like water rose up like a fountain and went directly into Bheeshma's mouth. A gasp went up from the assembled Kshatriyas. They cheered and waved their garments. The Kauravas shivered in fear as they saw the skill of Arjuna. After slaking his thirst, Bheeshma spoke. "O mighty-armed Jishnu, your act is not wonderful because you are the ancient sage Nara incarnate. You are the best of all archers, and along with Krishna, you can perform deeds that even the gods cannot accomplish. O Vijay, you possess every celestial weapon." Bheeshma then looked at Duryodhana. "O son of Dhritarashtra, see here now Arjuna's prowess. Why, no one can defeat Bibhatsu in battle, even if they are assisted by the combined forces of both the gods and the Asura demons. Let all enmity, therefore, between you cease from today onwards. Let the war end with my fall. Give half the kingdom to Yudhishthir and live together in peace. This would be most beneficial to you and the Kuru dynasty. But if, however, through perverted understanding, you do not heed my advice, you will soon regret your folly." Bheeshma was finding it hard to speak. His voice trailed off, and he closed his eyes. But Duryodhana said nothing, while Karna stood by his side, looking in a threatening, menacing manner at Arjuna. It was clear the battle would continue. The kings paid their respects to Bheeshma once more, and then returned to their camps. Pulling on their armor, cleaned and polished after the previous day's fighting, they mounted their horses and chariots. They rode out solemnly towards the battlefield, followed by waves of infantry, clad in armor, wielding spears and swords. Great elephants rocked about, trumpeting furiously. As the vast armies amassed, kanchals were blown and drums beaten. And in his tent, Karna was being attended by a number of servants. They fetched his effulgent armor, which was studded with hundreds of gems, as well as his bright helmet. And with his mouth set in a firm line, Karna fitted his iguana skin gloves and leather arm protectors. The servants loaded his chariot with thousands of oil-soaked arrows, with their heads made of iron and steel. And they also loaded onto the chariot 50 bows made of the finest materials, as well as swords, maces, axes, darts, and lances. Smeared with red sandalwood paste, garlanded with fresh flowers, Karna climbed aboard his chariot. All around him, Brahmanas performed Vedic rites to invoke auspiciousness. As Karna moved off, musicians beat kettle drums and blew trumpets. Standing on the broad terrace of his chariot, Karna said to his driver, "Now take me at once to the spot where Arjuna stands. Even if all-devouring death protects him, Arjuna will not escape from me. I will confront him in battle, and either I will send him to the next world or go there myself, following Bheeshma's trail." Soon, Duryodhana joined Karna, and the two friends rode to the front of the Kuru forces. The other warriors were cheered by the sight, and they roared and twanged their bowstrings. Seeing Karna shining like a smokeless fire, Duryodhana felt that his enemies were already slain. He smiled and said, "O foremost of men, in you I have found a suitable commander for my troops. Tell me now what you consider beneficial for our army. With Bheeshma now fallen, we have no leader. An army without a chief perishes like a rudderless boat on the high seas. Tell me, Karna, who you feel should be our commander-in-chief." Karna waved an arm toward the leading chariot fighters and said, "Why, practically any one of these great warriors could head your army. They are all acquainted with the martial science, and all of them are possessed of undaunting prowess. Still, only one man can be our leader. But at the same time, we must be cautious not to disturb those who won't be chosen. Therefore, I feel we should select Drona. He is the oldest and most experienced. Indeed, he is the preceptor of many heroes fighting now in this war. No one will object to the command of Drona Acharya. In the past, the gods, hoping to defeat the demons, made Kartikeya their commander. So I think you should make Drona the chief of your army." Duryodhana agreed. He rode over to Drona. As the two men were worshipped and eulogized by bards and singers, Duryodhana spoke. "O great hero, amongst all this host of kings, no one could be as good a protector as you. You are a Brahmana, and you are of noble birth. You know the Vedas, and your skill, power, and wisdom are unparalleled. And like Indradev leading the celestials, I want you to become our commander-in-chief. Why, who can match you on this battlefield? Even Arjuna will not dare approach us with you at our head." Drona Acharya stood tall on his chariot, his great bow by his side. With his white hair and beard and his silver armor, Drona shone like the moon on a clear night. Raising his hand in blessing, Drona replied, "Yes, I am well versed in the Vedas and their 6 auxiliaries, and I know the science of weapons. I will therefore offer battle to the sons of Pandu. Conquering the Panchala and Somaka armies, I will range across the battlefield, striking terror into the hearts of the enemy. But, my dear monarch, I doubt I will be able to slay Drishtadyumna, for that hero was born just to kill me." But not caring for the prophecy, Duryodhana arranged for the ceremony to install Drona Acharya as commander-in-chief. Duryodhana was thinking that he could ensure that Drishtadyumna was kept away from Drona. In any event, it was hard to believe that Panchala prince had the power to kill Drona. Why, the two had already met on several occasions, and Drona had proved more powerful every time. So perhaps the so-called prophecy regarding Drishtadyumna would prove to be nothing more than a rumor. With the coronation now complete, the Kaurava troops sent up a shout and played their instruments in unison. With his head still wet from the sacred waters used in the ritual, Drona remounted his chariot and led the army into battle. Duryodhana rode by the side of Drona, and as they proceeded towards the fight, Drona said, "O great king, indeed I am honored by this office of Commander-in-Chief. I wish to repay you in some way. Please tell me what you desire, and I will endeavor to accomplish it." Duryodhana thought for a moment and then replied, "O preceptor, if you would give me a boon, then capture Yudhishthir and bring him to me." "Oh, I am surprised. Yes, fortunate is that eldest son of Kunti, that you desire to capture him and not kill him. Surely it is wonderful that not even you can feel any malice towards him. O monarch, why do you not wish to kill Yudhishthir? Would not his death end this conflict and bring you victory? Could it be that rather than killing the Pandavas, you wish to re-establish brotherly feelings amongst you?" But a sly grin played around Duryodhana's mouth, and he said, "O teacher, Yudhishthir's death would not bring me victory. If he were killed, Arjuna would be so angry that Arjuna would utterly annihilate all of us. I have come to accept that even the immortals cannot slay all 5 brothers. I thus see Yudhishthir's capture as a means to secure victory. You see, with him under our control, the war will end. Again, challenging him to dice, I will send all 5 brothers back to the woodlands. Thus will my victory be established." Drona could only gaze at the smiling Duryodhana. It was obvious Duryodhana had experienced no change of heart. His evil mind was fixed. Still, Drona thought that he had a duty to perform. He then took a deep breath. If the heroic Arjuna does not protect Yudhishthir, then you may consider Yudhishthir to be captured. But if Arjuna stands before Yudhishthir, I will not be able to carry out your instructions. Why, not even Indra, along with all the celestials, can overpower Arjuna and capture Yudhishthir before his eyes? I may be his preceptor, but he is far younger in years, and Arjuna has acquired weapons known only to the best of the gods. So you must somehow draw Arjuna away from Yudhishthir, and then I will be able to take the king captive." Duryodhana cheered Drona. Knowing that he was partial to the Pandavas, Duryodhana broadcast Drona's promise to all the other commanders. Duryodhana wanted to ensure that Drona would keep his word. And as the Kauravas heard of the plan, they shouted out in joy. Now, surely victory would be theirs soon. Who could resist Drona? News of Duryodhana's plan soon reached Yudhishthir. He then called Arjuna to his side. "O Kiriti, you must now ensure that you are never far from me in the fight. Drona will be looking for his chance. For the moment you are away, Drona will charge towards me like a lion seeking its prey." Clad from head to toe in his impenetrable armor, Arjuna stood before his elder brother. Lifting his Gandiva bow, Arjuna replied, "O leader of men, although I could never stand to see Drona Acharya killed, I will not allow him to take you captive as long as I live. The sky with all of its stars may fall, the earth may shatter into fragments, but Drona will not capture you in my presence. Duryodhana's plan is futile. Rest assured, my king, I am always endeavoring to keep my vows. Therefore do not be afraid of Drona Acharya." Arjuna then mounted his chariot, taking his place at the head of the army, along with Dhristadyumna and Abhimanyu. As they led their forces into battle, a deafening roar filled the four quarters. Surrounded by his other brothers, Yudhisthira followed close behind Arjuna, with the huge Panchala forces following him. Maha-Bharata, Second Part, Chapter 14. Yudhisthira will be captured. Once again on the field of Kurukshetra, the armies collided for the 11th day of battle. Coming fresh into the fight, Karna carved a path of destruction through the Pandava forces. The Kaurava soldiers were delighted as they witnessed Karna causing havoc among their foes. Yes, surely the Pandavas will soon flee, for here is Karna, most capable of crushing even celestial armies. Where Bheeshma treated Kunti's sons with tenderness, Karna will not spare them. The din and clamor of battle resounded for miles, sending animals in distant forests bounding away in fear. Billowing clouds of dust, like heaps of tawny silk, rose up and obscured the sun globe. Weapons fell in thick showers on both armies, and the terrifying slaughter once again ensued. Drona Acharya charged headlong into the Pandava army. Drona fired thousands of razor-sharp arrows which tore apart the warriors who stood before him. The fighters fell like rows of cranes and herons before a wind gale. Invoking celestial weapons, Drona destroyed his enemies just as Indra destroys the Asura demons. The Pandava army quaked and tremored before Drona as he ranged about like Yamaraj himself, holding his staff of death. Alarmed at the destruction of his forces, Yudhisthira spoke to Dhristadyumna. "Check Drona's onslaught. No time should be lost." And so with a roar, Dhristadyumna charged Drona, followed by Bhima, the twins, Abhimanyu, and other warriors. They surrounded Drona and rained their arrows upon his chariot. Drona's eyes rolled in anger. Now, working his bow with blinding speed, Drona repulsed the attackers like a storm blowing off clouds. Drona sent men and chariots wheeling across the battlefield in all directions. Like an insane madman, Drona roamed the battlefield, releasing his fire-like weapons. Beholding Drona rushing upon them like an angered Yamaraj, the Pandava forces fled in confusion and terror. The terrific sound of Drona's bowstring could be heard continuously. Just as Bheeshma had done before him, Drona slaughtered the Pandava soldiers. And at the same time, other great heroes among the Kauravas engaged with their counterparts. Many furious one-to-one battles took place between the leading warriors of both armies. With his mind fixed on his promise to Duryodhan, Drona Acharya plowed relentlessly into the Pandava forces. Yudhisthira was stationed within their midst, protected by many Maha-Bharatas who covered his chariot on all sides. Arjuna was close by, contending with a number of powerful chariot fighters who had been assigned the task of leading Arjuna away from his brother Yudhisthira. And as Drona Acharya burst through the ranks of soldiers in front of Yudhisthira, Drona was met by Kumara, a Panchala prince protecting Yudhisthira's chariot wheels. As Yudhisthira fired his long shafts at Drona, Kumar rushed towards Drona. The prince sent a volley of arrows at Drona, which checked his progress. He pierced the Kuru preceptor with hundreds of shafts, laughing and roaring all the while. But not tolerating his attack, Drona regained his senses and fixed a broad-headed arrow onto his bow. Drawing it back to his ear, Drona fired it with deadly accuracy, severing Kumara's head from his body. Then another Panchala prince, Singhasena, struck Drona with 100 ferocious arrows, and he was supported by his brother, the Agradatta, who also came at Drona, screaming out his fearful battle cry. They both pierced Drona's arms and chest with their steel shafts. Unperturbed, Drona sent 2 razor-headed arrows in swift succession, which cut off their heads. And as those 2 handsome heads, bedecked with golden earrings and helmets, dropped to the earth, Drona Acharya pressed on towards Yudhisthira. Seeing him approach the Pandava king, the Kaurava troops cried out, "Yudhisthira is now captured!" Cries of distress then went up from the Pandava army as Drona Acharya came ever closer to Yudhisthira. Hearing the shouts, however, Arjuna rushed towards Drona, mercilessly mowing down the warriors who stood in his way. And all that could be seen of Arjuna or his chariot as he fought his way towards his brother was a constantly spreading network of arrows. And above that shower of arrows flew Hanuman, roaring frightfully from Arjuna's flag banner. Duryodhana then ordered thousands of chariot fighters to charge Arjuna. Recklessly they advanced towards him. The battlefield around Arjuna appeared to be a mass of arrows. Charging into the impenetrable wall of shafts, the Kauravas were cut down and their chariots smashed. Drona found it impossible to approach Yudhisthira. His supporting divisions could do nothing to help Drona. They were being destroyed by the inflamed and incensed Arjuna. Those who were not killed turned and fled in fear from the battle. As Arjuna created a fearful destruction among the Kaurava army, the sun globe touched the western horizon. Drona blew his conch shell to withdraw his troops. Gradually, the two armies disengaged and returned to their camps, praising each other's heroism. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Nrsimhaya Vidmehe Vajranakaya Dhimahi Tanna Singha Prachodayat. Let us meditate upon Nrsimhadev, the lightning-nailed god. May that transcendental lion promote our thoughts. Vajranakaya Vidmehe Tikshna-dangstraya Dhimahi Tanno Narasingha Prachodayat. Let us meditate upon Nrsimhadev, who is known as the possessor of nails which are as hard as thunderbolts, and that Lord has sharp teeth. Let us all be enthused by Lord Narasingha.
I offer my obeisances to Lord Narasingha, who gives joy to Prahlad Maharaj, and whose nails are like chisels upon the stone-like chest of the demon Hiranyakashipu. Lord Narsingha is here, and he is also there. Wherever I go, there is Lord Narsingha. Narsingha Dev is within my heart, and Narsingha Dev is outside as well. I surrender to Lord Narsingha, the origin of all things and the supreme refuge. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you have assumed this form of half man, half lion. All glories unto you. For just as one can easily crush a wasp between one's fingernails, in the same way, the body of the wasp-like demon Hiranyakashipu has been ripped apart by the wonderful pointed nails on your beautiful lotus-like hands. Trina